Well, we're back, and as you can see, we've finished the planting of the transplants, which would be our primary plants in this schematic. And what we're going to do next is begin planting the secondary plants. Now, secondary plants, predominantly, you're using seed. You also can use small transplants of plug size. You really don't want to use any 6-pack or 8-pack size of transplants for secondaries. It really doesn't provide you the production you can if you started from seeds or plugs. And a plug would basically be the size of the end of your thumb. They're about 5/8 by 5/8. But in this particular part of the garden, we're going to go with seeds, and we're going to prepare the seeds, prepare this for seeding. You need a couple things. You'll need a type of a dibble board. These are available on the website, not of this type, one actually made out of a board and dowels that slide. This is one I've used for about 3 years now. And the dibble board is used basically to make an impression in the soil so that you can drop a seed in it, and the impressions are even dimensionally so that you get the maximum space and production for the bag. Now, with the dibble board, you're going to be planting 14 seeds or 14 plants on each side of the primary plant. And remember that the primary plane is parallel with the bed. So your secondaries go, if you're lined up parallel with the bed, go to the left and right of that plane. The next thing that you'll need is the infamous Garden Master's number 6 nutrient that I formulated. It's pelleted, it's all organic, and we'll use that to give them just a little bit of a kick, and this kind of eliminates the learning curve. That's why I've formulated and added this. Just a review. Now what we'll do, just using your hand, if your hands are sensitive, you know, this has sand in it, it's sandy loam, and over time, especially if your hands are wet, it can be abrasive. So if you need to, put on a glove that's fairly tight fitting, not a loose sloppy glove. It'll make it difficult to work. But we're gonna basically take back at least a ½ inch of sand. We're gonna push it to the center of that sandy loam. Okay. Then we're going to take a tablespoon of that, and we want it sprinkled fairly evenly in here. And then we'll bring that sand back, and you'll use the other side as your gauge as far as depth. Obviously it's going to be at the same grade, as we say, and firm it with the back of your hand. Just firm it up. You're not packing it with a lot of weight. Now you can also go, of course, and print out the PDF file on the Bucket Garden page of the gardenmaster.com and get the application instructions of the Garden Master nutrients. Okay, now we'll take our dibble board and we're going to put it in there symmetrically correct, if you like, or not. Run that a couple times. Your soil is moist, so now we have 14 indentations there. Now in this cauliflower, we're going to plant on both sides of it some radishes. What I like to do is take a tray or a lid and organize your seeds so you have them right there. And we'll just take these radishes. Now a radish has a pretty high germination rate, so generally just one seed per indentation will be fine. I'm going to put a few in my hand there. Set that in a dry area. And I'm going to drop one seed for indentation. Now if you drop a couple in there by accident, don't be concerned with having to dig it out. You can certainly have more than one in there if you like. Okay. Then I'm just going to lightly use some of my soil along the edges and around the plant, and just fill in. Those indentations are set to be approximately 1/4 inch in depth. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. And you need to raise it and drop it a couple times to get the whole definition you need. And now these are raw seed, so, and as you know, a radish seed is a fairly good sized seed, so it's pretty easy to handle these, to plant them one by one. Or you can go to the website and purchase one of the Garden Master's designed vacuum seeder, which does all 14 seeds at once. Now we'll take a little, I'm going to borrow a little soil from another bag here. Make sure our spray stake is good. And that one's ready to go. Now our next, we're going to go to one of the tomatoes, and what we're going to plant in here would be carrots. Okay, let's get this ready to put that number 6 in there. And those that have been with us, as you know, the number 6 is the Garden Master's Pelleted Organic Nutrient, and I started that just to eliminate or buffer the learning curve for new gardeners, but it's become pretty popular for everybody. So we're going to cover that, and we'll go ahead and do the other side. We're going down about an inch, and just pull that soil, do one side at a time. Make sure that surface is fairly level. Get you a nice big tablespoon of the pellets. We want to firm that so that our dibble board is able to make an impression, and we want it fairly level. Set our dibble board in there, make our indentations. Everything already looks pretty level. Now I'm going to go ahead and do it on both sides. Take my, you should keep your seeds stored in your refrigerator, a freezer ideally. Take them out of the freezer a couple days prior to your planting, and that basically fools the seed genetically, and you have a better germination rate. You can see it looks like just a handful of BBs. Now you want to handle these with dry hands, and you want to use your bare hand to handle them also. If your hands are wet, they're going to absorb moisture and they can crumble. So we'll just simply take each one of these, which have a carrot seed rolled up nice and comfortable on the inside. Now they're real easy to handle, and if you look at a raw lettuce or a carrot seed, you'll notice that they're pretty small and difficult to handle by hand. And it would be a lot more difficult in planting raw seed individually versus the pelleted seed. There we go. Now those, I don't want to disturb their orientation, so once again I'm going to borrow some sand, one of these others. Now this particular bag, we already had the pellets in it and prepared, so in case you're wondering about the number 6. Okay, there, check the stake orientation, and we're all set. Okay, now we've got all of our secondary seeds planted in this phase of the garden, which is 30% of the total, and we're going to apply the water now to water everything in, and we'll be good to go until the next phase. This is a good time also to maybe do some final adjustments on your spray if you've moved them at all. Get that angle of 25 degrees. And you're set. Looking good. And we're ready to grow. This is Ted Hallett, the Garden Master. Until next time, happy gardening.